Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz Roundtable Discussions where we discuss all sports all the time. Got my guy Tooth with me. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, bruv. What you saying? What you saying, bruv?
All good in the hood, man. I can't complain, bro. I cannot complain. People, it's back. Fight Talk is back. Another episode. And we're going to be talking about UFC 264, Poirier versus McGregor 3. It was a surprising night, a night that nobody could have expected, but we are going to get into it. But before we do that, people, as usual, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the likes up, get the subscriptions up and all that good stuff, and make sure to tell a friend to tell a friend. Also, don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links will be in the description. That's all the niceties out the way. UFC 264, Poirier versus McGregor 3. Only went one round, if you haven't seen it. Had to be stopped because Conor broke his leg. Absolute mad thing. Poirier ended up winning on a doctor stoppage by TKO. Tooth, bro, that's another broken leg that we've seen in the past. What? I think between 262 and 264. Like, how many have you seen? What is it, 3 or 4 leg breaks?
No, I think it's just the 2. But obviously, whenever a leg break happens like that, bruv, it's always going to be, you know, one of them things where, oh my God, because you don't often see it, man. You don't see it often. The last one before the Chris Weidman one was Anderson Silva, bruv.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like 10 years ago, I think, or around 10 years ago. But yeah, the Chris Weidman one happened, what, like...
There was another one in it, but it wasn't like a proper break, but it was like...
Yeah, it was like a foot injury. A foot injury, but not like a clean break where...
Yeah. Not like a Weidman.
Yeah, proper. But that was... Yeah, man. It's always nasty to see that, bro. It was sad to see the fight finish like that, bro. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I get it. Some people are like over the moon because Poirier won and Conor got, you know, silenced again or got what he deserved. But, bruv, you have to look at it from my fucking perspective, bruv. I'm watching the fights from 11 p.m. Do you know what I mean? From the early prelims. I'm up at 6, like, do you know what I mean? From 11 p.m. on a Saturday night all the way up to 6 in the morning. You're watching all these fucking sick fights. Comes to the main event and it ends like that, bruv. It's like, nah, do you know what I mean? I want it to be run back. I want to have a fight of the year candidate. Do you know what I mean? All that anticipation, all that build up. Like, for me, I was gutted, bruv. I was so pissed that it then ended like that. And I think that's the same way Dana White looked at it, because, you know, when they asked him after at the post-fight press conference, he was, you know, you could tell he was upset by the way that fight had ended.
Yeah.
You know, his immediate response was, Poirier is going to fight for the title, and then there's a rematch between the two of them. So I think he also shares the same sentiment that I do, where it's like, bruv, we can't have the fight or that episode end like that. Do you know what I mean? That season can't end like that, bruv.
And this is it. I mean, let's go back to the beginning of the fight. What did you think of the fight and how it was going in the first round? Because there was a lot to dissect just from the first round alone. But what did you think? How did you think it was going for Poirier and for Conor?
I think technically it was very similar to the first fight in that Conor had his moments in the fight, especially in the stand-up. He was using his kicks a lot more, which is something that he used a lot in the early stages of his career. Now, if you go back and watch Conor versus Dennis Seaver, Diego Brandao, Chad Mendes. He opened the Chad Mendes fight, the opening bell, first second with like a hook kick to the head. Do you know what I mean? So he used to use his kicks a lot. He used to use the spinning back kick a lot. But since, you know, he started flatlining people and obviously going over to boxing and fighting Floyd, he just became very dependent on his hands. So it was good to see him kind of go back to what got him to the dance in the first place, which was all of his weapons. And he was having success. He was throwing some kicks to the body, to the legs, and he was tagging Poirier a few times. But then, as Poirier does, he always gets himself back into the fight. Like, he might be a slow starter, but he does get back into the fight. And then he had his moments. Conor went for the guillotine.
Yeah.
Again, people may be saying, why did he go to his back? And, you know, Poirier's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Do you know what I mean? Why would he try that against Poirier? Do you think Conor went for the guillotine because he was hurt from one of the leg kicks were checked? Do you think that's the reason why he went to the guillotine, or it's just because of how he ended up? I don't think he was hurt from the checks, bruv. I don't think he was hurt from the checks. I think this is the thing. People do pull guard when they're tired, when they're hurt. They do pull guard.
Yeah.
But in that instance, I think he went for the guillotine because it was there to take it.
Okay.
And anyone in jiu-jitsu will tell you, if you see someone's neck, you take it. There's no, like, you have to take it. One of my boys, he's a BJJ black belt, and he told me where Conor kind of flopped in that attempt wasn't because he went for the guillotine, was because he didn't know when to give it up. So he probably was burning out his arms. And another thing where he flopped was he probably didn't change to the high elbow guillotine.
Yeah.
Which is another technique, another variation of the guillotine choke. But when you're in a position like that, where you have someone on top of you, sometimes you have to bring your elbow higher up in order to tuck that choke in a little bit deeper. Otherwise, they can worm their head out, which is what Poirier did in the end. So again, when you break it down technically, this might not sound logical to the casuals. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course.
But that's where the intricacies of fighting come into play. Do you know what I mean? Like burning out your arms or switching from a standard guillotine to a high elbow guillotine and things like that. On the ground, obviously, Poirier put in work as well. He was hitting him with elbows. He was slicing him up. But Conor was impressive on the bottom as well. He was throwing elbows from guard, which is like...
He was catching them.
He was catching him. So again, like, he wasn't just laying there like he was against Khabib. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously they got back up, and then that freak injury happened. I don't think it happened from Poirier checking his kicks. I was watching a video on YouTube. It's one of these channels where a doctor breaks down all the sports injuries. Do you know what I mean? I've sent it on the group plenty times, bro. And he broke it down. And he went through all the checks. And all the checks that Poirier did either landed on Conor's foot, which was nowhere near where the leg break was.
Yeah.
Or it grazed the outside meatier part of the leg, if you get what I mean, in the same area, which doesn't really coincide with an injury like that. So I don't know, bruv. It was just one of them freak ones, but I definitely don't think it was from a check, which everyone keeps saying. But yeah,
because that's what Poirier said. Poirier was like, oh yeah, it's from a check.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people think it's from a check. People in my other group were saying, yeah, it was from a check. But again, when I sort of watched the video again and listened to what that doctor had to say on his channel, and reviewing the footage again, bruv, it didn't seem like it came from a check. It did. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I guess we won't truly know. But what a nasty,
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, bruv, nasty as well, man. It's like, ooh. What did you make of it, bruv? Because I know you love them injuries, man.
Bro, fuck that, bro. I was like, because I didn't realize what happened at first until on the floor, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's broken," and I was like, "What?" Then I watched the replay. I was like, "No, that's nasty. That's nasty. No. I'm not for it. I'm not for it at all."
About you the whole time, bro. I was thinking.
I bet you were, bro.
I was like, oh, bro, I need to post this on the group, bro, because I remember posting when Jacare broke his arm, and when I forgot the dude's name, Paul Craig beat him, Jamar Hill. When Jamar Hill broke his arm as well, and you were like, I'm not watching these.
Nah, I refuse to. That stuff ain't for me. That's why UFC. I'm a bit like, because I don't want to see them things, and it's happening a bit too frequent for my liking in the past couple of fights that I watched, bro. Right. It's so annoying that we didn't get to see the full fight, but there's a lot of people out there that were saying this fight was going the same way as Conor Poirier 2, where Poirier was going to dominate and probably stop him again. Were you getting the same vibe, or were you siding with what Conor's trainer was saying, which was like he was happy with what Conor was doing, and we probably would have seen Conor stop Poirier in rounds 2 and 3? Or are you going with the people that are basically saying this fight looked like it was going the same way as the second fight, and Poirier was just going to dominate again and then eventually stop him?
Boy, it's hard to tell, man. Again, I think a lot of those people that are siding one way or another way has a lot to do with bias, bro. But that even though it was a clear round for Poirier won the round. Do you know what I mean? Conor was still in the fight, man. Conor was definitely still in the fight. I remember, was it the second fight between Stipe and DC, where DC took the first 2-3 rounds? Do you remember? Blatantly, like he won round 1 and round 2, and then Stipe just came back, body shot after body shot after body.
Yes.
And wore him down. You remember?
Yeah.
I think that was the second one.
That was the second one, yeah.
That was the second one, innit? And who knows? It could have turned out like it may have. But again, adding up what we know about Conor being, a lack of activity, ring rust, do you know what I mean? Fighting, and again, look, he's fighting Poirier, bruv. This guy was interim champ, probably number 2 ranked, number 1 ranked, lightweight in the world. This is no bum. Do you know what I mean? This is no scrub. This guy's legit, legit as they come. And it's there's no shame in losing to a person like that. In fact, there's no shame to losing to any of the fighters that Conor's lost to on his record. From Nate, who he jumped up 2 weight classes on 10 days notice to fight Nate the first time, to fighting Khabib after having like a 2-year layoff, and then to fight in Dustin, where he lost in the second fight after having a year layoff, but fighting Donald Cerrone, who we all know is like not really on that level, is he? Good fighter, but not not an elite, not a great fighter, not like a top 5 guy. And then losing to Poirier again in the rubber match by a freak injury. There's no shame in that, I don't think. I think there's a lot of bias because he's so polarizing, isn't he, bruv?
Yeah.
It's like he's one of those guys you either love him or you hate him. Now, me personally, I fucking love him. Do you know what I mean? That's my boy. I'll ride out for him. But when I take a step back and put that bias aside, I'm like, no, Conor is still a very good fighter.
100.
Very, very good fighter. It's, all this ring rust, all this time off. But at the same time, the rest of the division has now evolved and caught up and maybe even overtaken him, or definitely have overtaken him in the time that he's been out. He looks so vulnerable now, whereas before he looked invincible.
And especially that Alvarez fight where you just thought this guy is never going to lose.
Yeah,
he's lost that aura.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's that whole argument about, before the fight, he's done, he's finished. If he loses, it's over for him. And I'm thinking to myself, again, a lot of bias there, because Dana came out and said immediately, do you know what I mean? Rematch after Poirier gets the title fight. So it goes to show, like, his name still holds a lot of weight. Dana obviously sees something in him. And Dana's the kind of guy that has always called out fighters when they need to retire, no matter who they are. He's called out Ronda, he's called out Woodley, he's called out BJ Penn, he's called out bare people, bruv. The list goes on. He's even called out GSP. Do you know what I mean? He's called out all these great fighters to, like, hang it up and stop fighting. And, if your heart's not in it, give up. But after this, where Conor lost badly, broke his fucking leg, do you know what I mean? Dana even asked Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman to retire after they broke their legs. But yeah, after Conor broke his leg, he's like, nah, bruv, immediate rematch. Like, what, bruv?
But is that because he's the cash cow? He's still the biggest draw? Is that the reason why? I know obviously Dana probably still sees something, and obviously him and Conor have a relationship. But is it, if Conor was the Weidman, would he still be saying the same thing?
No, absolutely not. But, Ronda was a cash cow.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
GSP was a cash cow. Silva, you can argue at that time back then.
Yeah, he was finished. He was
done, but his name still held a lot of weight. No, but I agree in the sense that, yeah, definitely he's trying to hang on to it. He's trying to milk his cash cow as much as he can before, it's time to hold it up. But then part of it also has to do with Conor doesn't look or sound finished.
No, he doesn't, to be fair.
He looks in phenomenal shape. And then he sounds like his head is still in the game. Like, none of this talk about it's over for him if he loses. None of this got to him in the build-up of the fight. He carried that pressure like it was nothing, bruv. He carried that pressure like a Tesco handbag, bruv. Tesco grocery bag, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was nothing for him, bruv. He still went about his business and, attracted all those people to come to the press conference. Sold out Las Vegas. I don't know what the pay-per-view buys are, but I'm certain it's broken pay-per-view records again.
I don't think this fight would have compared to.
No, I mean, I don't think it's number one, but I think it would have broken into the top 10, the top 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is still, like, every time Conor is on pay-per-view, it always does break into the top 5, the top 10 most pay-per-view buys.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, if he's done, it's because of the injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think he put a video out saying that the surgery went successful.
Yeah.
And he should be back after, I think he's got 6 weeks on crutches, and then he's back training again. So I think he was optimistic about being back before the end of the year. I think it's a bit too soon, but we'll see. But it's clearly obvious that he's not done. He still sees it that he has unfinished business in the UFC.
Yeah. Just to add to that, bruv,
yeah.
Even when Conor loses, he still wins, bruv. Just think about
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? He lost to Diaz the first time, immediate rematch. He lost to Habib, rematch. He lost to Poirier in the rematch, rubber match. Bro, he even lost to Floyd, and people were like, as silly as it sounds, but it was a buzz for a while. Will Floyd come over to MMA and fight him?
Yeah, we knew that weren't gonna happen.
That was never gonna happen. And will they run it back again in boxing? Like, there was still that. Do you know what I mean? There was still no other fighter has that, bro. No other champion has that. And that's what I mean by, even when he loses, he still kind of wins. He's still relevant.
Yeah.
Even if people are saying like, oh, this is his last chance. If he loses this, he's finished. It's over for him. Even that is like, any other fighter, it would be the case.
Yeah.
It would be the case. Let's say Stipe loses another fight. Do you know what I mean? He might retire. That pressure might get to some. I'm not saying him exactly, but just as an example. Yeah. Whereas with Conor, it's not the case, bro. When he loses, it's still that, fuck, like, what's his next move? Everyone's still got one eye on him. He's still in the sort of conversation for who is he going to fight? Is he going to have the Diaz trilogy? Is he going to fight Poirier again on some like Marquez Pac-Man shit where they went like, what, 18 fights, bro? Do you know what I mean? Bro, I wouldn't be, bro, I guarantee you this, yeah? You know, like, now it's become a trend where boxers are coming out of retirement in their 80s with high blood pressure and diabetes and shit like that, bro. I bet you, bro, when it's all said and done, Pacquiao will fight Marquez again for like the 25th time, bro. Bro, that'll be pay-per-view every weekend in Mexico, bro, and the Philippines.
This guy, honestly. I'm one of the people that was saying if Conor loses this fight, I think it's time's up. I don't think Conor can beat the elite anymore. I think he's made too much money. His head is elsewhere because he's obviously the businessman now. And I think he's still too focused on boxing. I think the draw of the money and the hype that he gets from boxing doesn't compare to what it is in the UFC. And that's no disrespect to the UFC. I just think that's where his head's at. He's seen all the lights of Vegas and all the rest of it, and obviously with Floyd. And I don't think that will happen again. I mean, obviously there's talk of him fighting Pacquiao and whatnot, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I think if you bring all of those factors in, and obviously family man, because we know he's a family man as well. I think when you put all those factors in against guys that are just training. Oh, I just want to be UFC champion, blah, blah, blah. These are the reasons why I don't think he can beat the elite anymore. I think he'll beat, I say, from contenders 4 down to 10, I think he beats them. By the top 2 or 3, I think this is where the issue lies for Conor. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if Conor, the champion that he is, can't beat guys with the belt and 2 and 3, where can he really go? Because what Conor fans don't want to see is him floating around fighting these very good fighters, but always losing to the best ones. Because he's always going to be in the main event, but you don't want to see Conor always losing to the best and fighting these mid-level guys. That's what you don't want to see.
Yeah. So fight Conor is similar to fighting Floyd now. You've got to be like, he's not just going to carry a bum in the main event. You know what I mean? You got to have some draw to be in a fight with Conor. It's red panty night, bruv, when you fight Conor. Do you know what I mean? So you got to be someone.
Yeah.
I agree, bruv. I think, as I sort of alluded to earlier, all that time off, all that inactivity, the rest of the guys have caught up with him or overtaken him. And they're making him look, well, not they, but, you know, the people he's lost to, such as Habib and Poirier, are making him look vulnerable, are making him look ordinary. A guy that was making everyone else look below par and not even in the same stratosphere as him. So, including Poirier, who he knocked out in the first round at featherweight in their very first fight.
Yeah.
I still think there's the Diaz trilogy out there for him, which is a winnable fight.
Yeah.
A fight that everyone wants to see, and a fight where both of them are superstars now. Both of them are entertaining, and it will draw a lot of views, a lot of numbers, and it is a winnable fight for him. And if he does win that, you know, he'll be thrown back into that sort of, oh, should he get a next title shot? Because despite Diaz not being the greatest out there, he still poses a difficult challenge. He's still a gatekeeper.
Yeah, of course.
And whoever he fights, even Leon, he was getting battered for 4.5 rounds by Leon. Yeah. And then
boom.
Boom. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree, bruv. And the whole boxing thing, I think that's still an option, but later down the line, bruv. Later down the line. Yeah, I think he seems still way too focused on MMA. And this is where you have to tip your hat off to Conor, whether you like him or you don't like him, bias aside, bruv. For you to lose, I can't remember, what is it, like, how many times he's lost? Like, let's say two out of the last 3 fights. No, 3 out of the last 4
fights.
Yeah, 3 out of the last 4 fights you've lost, and you've been made to look like a meme. You've been embarrassed on the grandest stage of them all, and none of this has gotten to your head. Like, none of this has broken your will to continue. Like, you're not hearing none of the other noise, bro. You got to tip your hat off to that, bro. Do you know what I mean? That is, again, people think, oh, he should have that. And you're right, you should. But do you know how many fighters are out there that have that mental block? And some of your favorite fighters, some of my favorite fighters, they've spoken about it. They've spoken about how they are their own worst enemy, and they let these moments get to them, and they can't control their emotions. They can't keep it in check. Rose is one of them. Darren Till's another one. Cowboy, the most famous one out of all of them. Like, he lets himself down all the time whenever it comes to fights. That dude, Kevin Holland, bro, when this guy wants to lose, he will find every possible way to lose, bro. And when you see Conor, he's so poised. He's so, do you know what I mean? He has a mental, like, fortitude around him. He has a fortress. His mentality is a fortress. You're not going to break him. He knows what he's done. He knows what he's capable of, and that's what you really got to tip your hat off to. So that's why I don't think he's done with MMA yet. And I think he's making plenty of money in MMA, bro. I think he's touching the same amount of M's as he would if he was to cross over to boxing.
Nah.
I do, bro, because, like, let's say, yeah, he gets paid, bro. If I remember correctly, I think Diaz got paid $2 million for their rematch. So that means Conor must have at least taken $5 million.
Yeah.
I think for the Cowboy fight, in his interview with Ariel Helwani, he said he
your boy.
Do you know what you've been waiting for, brother? Of all the times that I've slipped that line in to get you, bro, like, you were waiting. People, that is not my boy, bro. Me and him might share a similar nose, bro, but that's as far as the similarities go, bro. Yeah, in his interview with Ariel Helwani before the Cowboy fight, he said he was going to get 80 mil for that fight.
What?
Yeah, bro, 80 mil. And bro, and I'm not saying, like, here Dana's going to hand you a briefcase with 80 mil on there, but I'm talking about your fight pay, which is how much you get to show up, how much you get to win, your sponsorship pay, all right, post-fight bonus, pay-per-view points, which is where a majority of that
money comes from.
Yeah, if it was 80 mil, a majority of that 80 mil came from the pay-per-view buys. And then furthermore, all the interviews he's going to be doing during fight week, all the press he's going to be doing, and then his own sort of business ventures that he's got going on, like, you know, his sponsorship is all over the fucking place in the ring. So yeah, it like, and for a superstar like him, like 80 mil to fight Cowboy of all people. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think that's an exaggeration, but
it may be, but
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
It's not like if he came out and showed us all, like, here's the check that I signed to fight Cowboy, 80 million. You're not gonna doubt it, are you? They're gonna be like, no, for real. Like, you are Conor McGregor. This was your comeback fight. As I said, all those other factors put together, like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. If you got 80 mil, we're speculating here, people.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? We're not accountants. Don't come at
we
me.
weren't in the room. We weren't in the room.
Trust me. Do you know what I mean? We're just.
If we were in the room, trust me, some of that 80 mil would be in our pockets right now.
Hey, bro, trust me, bro. I would have fought Conor right there, fam. Bro, I would have broke my leg to get that fucking 80 mil, bro. So let's say if that is true, yeah. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. The numbers they were chucking around for that was around 100 mil. Again, speculation here, bro.
Yeah.
Speculation. Just all speculation. Those two are the biggest names in boxing at the moment. I mean, two out of
like, if you discredit, two out of five.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, like, without getting into specifics here.
2 out of 5.
Yeah, just generalizing.
Yeah.
Those two are the biggest names in boxing, generalizing. And if they're getting in that ballpark of 100 mil to fight each other, right, then Conor getting 80 mil to fight Cowboy at a sport which is his sport. Do you know what I mean? Which is what he's good at. Which he has a better chance of winning at than he was to do at boxing. Yeah, it kind of like, I don't see him making that jump. Yeah, I see him making that jump when he's completely done with MMA. And at the same time, I see him making that jump. Again, he thinks like a businessman as well. He's going to keep himself relevant, but he's not going to, you know, retire from MMA on Sunday and then have a boxing fight on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's got to build it up. He's got to build up the hype. He's got to find an opponent. He's got to train. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's all about the build up. He understands how this machine works. He understands how this business works. And I
think that's why Floyd was so grateful to have him.
Exactly. And it's mutual. That's why Conor was grateful to have Floyd as well. Floyd, his whole career, needed an opponent in boxing that was like that. Do you know what I mean? That could talk as much shit as he could and get as much attention as he could. Pacquiao, you could argue, because they still hold, the most pay-per-view buys in history.
Yeah.
But still, like, in terms of enigmas and in terms of chemistry, it just seemed way too cliche, didn't it? It just seemed like your super good boy versus your superhero versus your super villain.
Yeah, 100.
Kind of narrative, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas with Conor and Floyd, it was just two gangsters, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was two gangsters going to war, and that's what you really want to see, bruv. Well, for me at least. But if he does jump over to boxing, I see it happening much later down the line.
100%. In terms of Poirier, obviously Dana said title shot next against Oliveira.
Yeah.
Which we will get into once it's announced.
No, I know, but I mean, who else? You know, who else at this time?
Yeah.
I mean, Poirier turned down the title fight to fight
Conor, yeah. Which I wasn't happy about, but I understand it now.
Yeah, I understand, bruv. I understand. He's got to make his money, bruv. You know, his This part you got to censor out, bruv. But
Oh my God, bro.
Bruv, this is just between us, yeah. But you got to censor that shit out, though, bruv. Even like, do you know what I mean? Even I'm like, bro. Even from my standards, that was low, bruv.
Oh man, but yeah, he's got his payday. Now the focus is on Oliveira. What are you thinking for that fight? Obviously, we'll get into it properly when it comes, but what are you thinking for that fight after him coming off this Conor fight? How do you think the Oliveira fight's gonna go?
Tough one to call, bro. If you're just asking for a prediction, I'm gonna go with Oliveira, bro. I know. I'm going with, you know, the candidate who most people will think will lose that fight.
Well, listen, I can't go against you right now because you've been in a role calling these fights. Yeah. So I can't even be like, oh, nah, you're wrong. But just why Oliveira over Poirier?
Bruv, you know I've said this over and over and over and over again, bruv. Styles make fights, bruv. Do you know what I mean? And I just think Oliveira's style is the kind of style to beat Poirier.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Post-fight, bruv. I have to say, we have to talk about the post-fight interview just to get some jokes in, bruv.
Oh, no, I just want to talk about that. I'm like, we saw Poirier obviously was pissed with what Conor was saying before the fight, talking about killing man, talking about his wife being a man's DMs and all the rest of it, and just saying some pretty unsafe.
What did you think of that, by the way, bruv? The whole DM thing. Bro, I'm in a group, like I told you, in my other group, bruv, and I'm sure even in our group, man, them have wives and shit like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, bruv, it got heated, bruv.
But you know the biggest joke? Poirier said he wasn't even really upset about that. It was the fact that he said he was going to kill him. That's what upset Poirier, innit? But, bro, you can't be talking about man's wife like that.
But, bruv, let me ask you a question, yeah? I don't know if you know, like, from what I understood of what was going on. And again, like you know now, I've said this before, like, bro, I just turn on the fights now, like all the pre-fight, post-fight hype, embedded and all that shit countdown. Like, I can't deal with it anymore. It's just too time consuming. But from what I understood of the whole wife thing was that she DM'd him.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody actually came out and said that was a fake or anything like that. Like,
no one's actually confirmed or denied.
So, bruv, my question to you is, bruv, why is she DMing, man, like, right before the fight, bruv? Like, this, do you know what I mean? Like, what did you think was going to happen, you fucking idiot? If this was true, if this was true.
Bro, Poirier's got to sort his gal out, innit? Because Conor was still saying it in the octagon, saying, yeah, bruv, I still got her in my DMs. I've got it here. I'll send it to you. And I'm just like, huh?
Bruv, my man's leg was like contorted in all different angles, bruv. And he was talking about how Poirier's wife is in his DMs. Bruv, you know what the best part of that interview was, yeah? Bruv, like when he finished the interview, he called Poirier a hoe, bruv. I was like, bruv, allow it, bruv.
This is why people love Conor, and this is why people hate Conor.
Hate Conor, exactly, bro.
Because of the banter, but
bro, my logic has always been this, yeah. No matter how much you try to polish a turd, it's gonna be a turd, bro. This sport, you can't even call it that, bro, because it's violence.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's two people going in there with the mentality of killing one another. You can't change. You can't, like, bro. Not everyone's gonna be a GSP, bro. Not everyone's gonna come out all classy and shit. And what other occupation is there where you have the freedom to talk all the shit and insult everyone you can, whatever you like about them? Obviously, there's lines you shouldn't cross. I'm not saying like you should go out and talk about people's religion, race, family, shit like that. Like, it's Do you know what I mean? It's a line you shouldn't step over.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, you have the opportunity to punch that person in the face, bro. Which for me is like, fuck it, say what you want. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be able to lay hands on you.
Yeah, of course.
So that's where I stand. I know a lot of people disagree with me and that logic, but that's why I don't really get so, like I said, not only do I not pay attention to any of pre-fight, post-fight, embedding, none of that shit, but that's why at the same time, I don't get fussed about these, oh, he spoke about man's wife, or, you know, Colby talking about race and all that shit, because it's like, bro, at the end of the day, you're going to get in there with someone and they got the opportunity to lay hands on you. Like, no words will hurt as much as punching someone in the face, bro.
It's true, but it does wind people up. And it does, especially when it's personal. You don't mind if he's like, oh, you're a fucking idiot, you're a bum, just you're this, you're that, you don't mind. But what you don't want, a man come in and tell you he's going to kill you, like repeatedly saying, oh, I'm going to end your life in the octagon and blah, blah, blah. You'll take that personally. Same thing if man's talking about your wife or your kids.
Yeah.
You're going to take that personally, innit? Because those are people that you have affection for, and that's real. I'm not saying that MMA is not real life, but that's your life outside of the octagon, innit?
Yeah, true.
And when someone's personally attacking that, it just builds fuel to the fire. But you're 100% right. No matter what you say, when we get in the octagon, I'm putting hands on you.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm making sure. That's why Poirier was like, nah, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I'm not done because I haven't put my hands on him properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't blame him after the fight for saying, yeah, I'm gonna have my title shot, but I'm going back to him. Because I need to have justification, because it's like Conor said all of this, and unfortunately broke his leg. So Poirier hasn't been able to give him the beating that he wants to give him.
Yeah.
So I get it 100% from that perspective.
For real. But yeah, man, crazy one, isn't it, bro? Crazy one. I've always felt like that whole thing is just like, again, maybe I'm looking at it too detached. Do you know what I mean? I don't have no wife, I don't have no kids, don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Just all, for me, it's all about the entertainment value. Do you know
Don't worry, people, we're going to marry off too soon. Don't worry.
Well, I don't think anyone wants to marry me after the shit I've been saying on this podcast. Trust me. But yeah,
man,
for real. What else happened on that card, bro?
Yeah, Benz and Wonderboy.
Oh yeah. That kind of disappointed me, bruv.
Yeah, it's one-sided.
Yeah, it was. It was
one-sided. I didn't see any of the other fights after that because I was not paying for the box office, bruv.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
100. Before we go
to all you UFC fans out there, buy UFC Fight Pass, buy the pay-per-views, buy BT Box Office, whatever the fuck it is, BT Sports. Do it the legit way, all right? And, you know, hopefully Uncle Dana might cash us a check sometime soon. You know what I mean? We could be one of them YouTube channels where, you know, at the beginning they have like sponsorships. And trust me, lad.
Oh, man. Before we go, I briefly wanted to touch on an event that's happened. I know, obviously, we're done with the sport, but it is relevant and we can touch on it. Obviously, your boy Wilder and Fury has been postponed, which is annoying. And obviously, we've said it before about how we feel about boxing and the direction that it's going in. Yeah. Nobody's fault. It's Corona. What can you do? So it's been postponed.
You don't believe that shit, do you? Don't tell me you believe that whole Corona.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Right? And I get why people are saying it's not true, but at the end of the day, shit happens. It's Corona. The only thing I don't understand, but I did my research, is why it's going to take so long after. Because we were saying you isolate for 10 days. I think Rash said it in the group chat. If you isolate, that still brings you to the date and you're fine. But obviously, he's missing training. So you got to factor that in. And then I think what it is that the Olympics are coming up. And then I think AJ's fighting in September.
Yeah.
So I think, and the football season and all the rest of it, obviously it's going to be in America, but all that jazz. So when you think about it, October kind of makes sense.
Doesn't this like everything you said? Doesn't it sounds also convenient, bro?
It does.
Also convenient, bro. Like let's look at this guy's history, yeah? Just real quick. All right. Klitschko rematch. What did he do? Got all the way up to the press conference, you know, took his top off, said you're gonna get beaten by a fat man with tits, pulled out. Do you get me? Then after the Wilder, the first fight, yeah?
Yeah.
Immediate rematch was on the card. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But then he negotiated the deal with ESPN for 80 million and then went on this, you know, Eastern European bum bashing tour where he fucking Otto Warlin ranked 1,562 in the world. Tom Schwartz ranked 4,576 in the world. Like, he took on these bums before he came back round to Wilder. Again, pulled out of the immediate rematch, right? Here again, right on the cusp of the fight, pulling out again. Like, bro, this ain't like, bro, I'm trying to keep it unbiased because I don't like Fury, but I'm trying to keep it as unbiased. I'm just trying to call it how I see it. I'm just trying to shoot from the hip and call it how I see it.
Yeah.
On the cusp of all these big fights, pulled out, something happened. The AJ fight, yeah, the AJ fight, how deep, and we're not going to get into that, but, you know, that didn't happen. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. All right. But we're adding up little bits. Like, if this was a game of Cluedo, do you know what I mean?
It was him in the cellar, bruv. That's what we're getting to.
I mean? Like you're building up a picture of this guy here. Now, furthermore, we know about his drug use in the past, whether it be performance enhancing drugs or whether it be crack or whatever his fucking preference is. All right. Got to factor that in as well. Is he on something? Did he take something? All right. Because someone like that who's failed drug tests multiple times, you can never look at the same way, can you? Do you know what I mean? You're always, no matter what they do, bro, they're always going to have that cloud hanging over them.
Yeah.
Forever. And then the whole story about the COVID thing for me doesn't add up, bro, because it's like what he, again, I could be wrong from what I've heard and seen. And like I'm saying, I'm generalizing, I'm speculating. I don't really go out there to and do all the homework like you do, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's your role, fam. You got to tell me. But he took the first vaccine, didn't take the second one. Why the fuck would you take the first vaccine to not take the second one? Do you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. And then everyone in his camp had it. Do you know what I mean? So there was a report that said him and the 10 people in his camp all tested positive, right?
Yeah.
And who's that dude? Scott Parker, your boy. No, not Scott Parker.
Which one? Oh, Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker, bruv. Yeah. He was in Tyson Fury's camp. And he was at the Conor McGregor fight. But then he posted a video and then took it back down. Do you know what I mean? To cover up the tracks kind of thing. So, like, bro, and then you say all this shit. Like, add everything I've said to everything you've said. Bro, he might have got corona. He might have got it. We're living in that day and age now.
Yeah.
Where you could have got it. Anyone could get it. No one knows they had it. Cool. But adding all of that history, I think it's all convenience, bro. I think there's something else going on. To what extent, we don't know. Maybe he needs more time because he does look fat, out of shape with man tits. His shoulder, his ass crack starts from his shoulder blades, bro. This guy's built like fucking. What's that mustard company? You know the yellow, like when you go into Tesco where the ketchup aisle.
I know who you're talking about.
Bro, just pull up a screenshot of it when you do when you're in post production, bro. Like, he's built like that, bro. Do you know what I mean? like, of course you're gonna get corona if you're training in a fucking public gym, butt naked in your drawers, bruv. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, all this shit doesn't add up, bruv. It makes it hard for me to believe. And he's not been focused. We've seen him out partying. We've seen him a long layoff as well since the last time he fought, which was against Wilder.
Yeah.
And we've just seen him go back to that sort of fat, out of weight, unmotivated Tyson Fury. So who knows what the fuck is going on? Again, I might, like I alluded to earlier as well, maybe he's put something in his body that he needs to clear. Maybe he's been caught for something in his body that they're trying to keep under wraps. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of ways to play the system when it comes to that side of thing. And we do need to make a podcast on, you know, drug testing, performance enhancing drugs. And
bro, we'll do that, bro, because you're the expert and all that stuff.
But,
do you think this is punishment?
Yeah.
For Wilder?
I think there's a bit of pettiness involved as well. Again, hard to rule that out as well because of, you know, the whole arbitration shit like that went on and fucking up the whole AJ fight.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be pettiness. It definitely could be, like, you know, fine. You know what I mean? They're playing like little petty games, kind of thing. But he's gonna have to see Wilder at some point, bro. He's gonna. And the way Wilder's looking, I know he was reduced to a meme, and he's been embarrassed, and he's been persecuted, and people want to fucking, you know, shit on him and spit on him, but what, like, all you can say about Wilder now, like this Wilder we see now, 2021 Wilder, bro, rejuvenated, focused, in shape, training. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't see, bro, he's locked in. He's ready to go. You could tell he wants this.
You can tell he's focused. He's 100% focused. He's not doing much talking, not doing many interviews. Every time you see him on social media platforms, he looks like he's focused. I think the issue I have with Wilder is I just don't think he'll ever learn anything new. I don't think he'll develop anything new that will surprise Tyson Fury. And don't get me wrong, I could be wrong, because he's been away from it for so long. Obviously, he's had to recover. He's had to recover and whatnot, blah, blah, but he's been away for a while. So I hope that he's gone and he's learned some new things and he's learned something about himself. So we see the best version of him if and when this fight ever happens.
Yeah.
And same thing for Tyson Fury. If it is punishment or it is to cover up for something or it is because he's just been lazy, I hope that he takes this time now, gets back in shape, so we see the best version of him as well. So that when they get into the ring, not saying this will be the final time they fight, but I just don't want any more excuses.
Fam, they might have to do a Marquez Pacquiao on this one as well.
When you're saying 72 times, they're just going to have to fight.
Bro, every weekend on pay-per-view in Mexico for the next 5 years, bro. Do you get me, bro? Just keep running it back, bro. Just keep running it back, fam. You know what I mean? But no, I have to agree with you on that, bro. Like, we don't know. And that's the element of sort of uncertainty which Wilder brings into this. Has he learned anything new? Has he changed anything? I think he has. I think, you know, his new trainer, Malik Scott, looks like he's getting him.
Malik Scott.
Malik.
The one that
Wilder knocked out, yeah.
Yeah.
That's his trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his trainer, yeah. So Malik Scott looks like who's a former opponent of his as well, which is, you know, some Apollo Creed, Rocky kind of shit going on. But yeah, bro, he's got him. And then, bro, it's funny that I said that, bro, because this is almost like some Rocky 3 shit, because you remember Rocky was feeling himself in the first fight against Clubber Lang and then got fucked up, and then Apollo Creed came and trained him, and then he fucked Clubber Lang up, and do you know what I mean? So it's got that sort of cliche to it, that classic boxing cliche to it. But yeah, so I mean, and from the footage that I've seen, it's all just been them training, whether they're training out in like the woods in fucking back arse of Alabama, whether they're training at his crib. Do you know what I mean? He's always there doing something with it. So who knows, bruv? Again, who knows? I personally don't think he will learn anything new. I just think they're working on plans and traps to set up that bomb. And come on, it's not that hard to figure out. Like, you're not going to turn Deontay Wilder into Floyd Mayweather in the space of one fight.
Oh, no.
I think they're just setting up traps and game plans and how to unload that bomb. Whereas in the second fight and in the first fight, that's all he was looking for. He was windmilling that fucking right hand until it landed. And it just never worked. And now I think it's more of a case of like, nah, bruv, this guy is a little bit better than your Dominic Brazils. Do you know what I mean? And, you get what I mean, bruv? And your boy, bruv, I have to say this, your boy. Not my boy, but your boy, Dillian White, out here looking like
Listen, give him the fight and the truth boy, not my boy. Bruh. But I'm just saying he deserves his shot.
At who?
Wilder.
Wilder deserves his shot at Fury, bruv. A court arbitration, bruv.
Listen. I said it already. When AJ was fighting Fury, Wilder should fight White. That's what we said. Those should have been the fights. But obviously, Wilder.
A contract is a contract, fam.
Oh,
I'm sure if you were in a contract with someone and they were telling you, nah, bruv, like you just sit this one out. I'm gonna go do my thing and make this much P over here. And nah, fam. Me and you are tied into a contract, fam. That ink is dried. Your name is on it. My name is on it. You signed this knowing way back then that you could have fought that dude before you fought me. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll get into that another time, but
yeah,
you get what I mean? Like, a contract is a contract at the end of the day. And even if Dillian deserves a shot at fucking AJ, Fury, or Wilder, he doesn't deserve it as much as those three deserve a shot at each other.
100.
At the end of the day. He's just
100.
He's just not that relevant, and he's not done anything to what those men have achieved. Do you get what I mean? So just all I can say to Dillian is, bruv, just keep beating these guys that Eddie Hearn is throwing in front of you. Keep looking average, and maybe you might get your shot, bruv.
This guy, the truth heard what you were saying about his boy. He'd be calling blasphemy. But people, that is it from us. Another episode of Fight Talk done. As usual, it's always a good one. Let us know what you think in the comments. Poirier, Conor 4. Let us know what you think about that. Poirier and Oliveira. Let us know what you think about that. Did Conor take it too far with the comments that he was saying about Poirier's wife and saying he's going to kill him? Let us know. Is Conor finished? Is this it? The leg break, he's never going to be the same again? Let us know. And let us know about Wilder and Fury. Is Fury just being a bit petty? Is he covering up for something bigger? We want to hear from you and we want to know what you have to say. So as usual, before we go, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share. And as usual, make sure to join our social media pages as well. Links will be in the description. Yeah, Tooth, what's good?
Listen, if you're going to leave a comment, just make sure you're not the truth, bruv. And that's all.
Hey, we haven't heard from your boy, the Blue Avenger, in a while, bro.
Oh, bruv, that dude, bruv, this fucking YouTube Batman, like whatever the fuck he is, bruv. Nah, that's cool, bruv. That's my boy, bruv. Even though he comes at me, bruv, it's all love, bruv. It's all love.
Of
like,
course.
Tell him I live in Siberia. Do you know what I mean? In the Caucasus Mountains somewhere in Russia, bruv. He will stop chatting shit immediately, man.
Yes, bro. People, want to say thank you to my guy, Tooth. It's been a pleasure as always, sir. Thank you very much.
Always, bro.
People, we've got plenty coming up for you. Tooth and I were gonna do our Euro review, but we want to wait for the rest of the man to be there so we can chat shit in their face. So we're going to leave it a little bit longer to put that up, but it will be going up. Our Euro review show. Also got the Olympics coming up. Obviously, so many more MMA events coming up. What else have we got coming up? NBA finals talk. We got that coming up. It is coming. It is coming up. It is coming up. It's almost. It's 2-1 in the series.
Oh, the big one is do you know what? Of all the podcasts, yeah, the NBA one is the one that I enjoy the most, bro. Trust me. I told you, man, that before, bro. But still, it's just such a. I'm not gonna get into it, bro. Fuck it.
And yeah, unfortunately, yeah, after the Euro talk, football will be going on the back burner, people. So all our football lot after the next Euro talk, which will be coming up for you on Friday, football will go on the back burner because we got Olympics, we got MMA, we got boxing coming up, and we've got tennis. We've got to talk about tennis as well. I forgot about that. Got to talk about King Novak getting that 20th title and equaling Nadal and Federer in terms of Grand Slams. We've got to get that in as well. And also, we're going to do our stuff that's not related to sport. We're going to get all that stuff in as well before the football season comes around in a month's time. So plenty of content, people. So make sure tell a friend. But people, that is it from us. Stay safe out there, especially ethnic minorities, because it's hard out here for us at the moment. But we will stay safe and we shall see you very, very soon. Peace.